Shalom. Back in 2006, while I was deep in the clutches of Christianity, I was convicted that Saturday was the Sabbath. The seventh day was the day that I and my family should be worshiping, not on the first day of the week, Sunday. I was so on fire for coming to this truth that I wanted to let the people in my home study group that met at my house know about my newfound truth and faith. News was a big flop. Okay. Within a couple of weeks, the group had disbanded and I was ousted and disappointed, especially because the group leader blamed me for the breakup. Well, you know. So then I started to look to find a group that celebrated on Sabbath and still believed in, well, I said, Jesus. I had been convicted of Sabbath during a religious television program, and it took me some time to determine the denomination of the speaker because it just wasn't really obvious. So I finally found out that he was Seventh Day Adventist, SDA. So we found a local church and was readily accepted into their conclave. Okay, just they just accepted us, me and Floyd and Winston and Zoe, and there were other children that were age, and so we just got all involved. And but at the same time, we had to understand that our biological families began to politely pull away, and we also had to distance ourselves because the main family functions came with meals prepared by pork loving moms, aunts, uncles, and cousins. Okay. And so this was my second ousting. Okay. The third ousting was sure to come because I was still seeking truth and I was going straight ahead. Okay. So now the Seventh Day Adventist Church, and I don't know if it's for all of them, but I know several of them celebrate Easter and Christmas. Okay. And that didn't sit right with me. We'd have a Christmas tree in the church, and we'd be sending Easter cards and stuff like that. And after 3 years of, denial and excuse making, the Father put me in the path of a Messianic family. And the grandmother, who was my age, explained that God and Jesus had names and had very specific instructions by which we were to live our lives. Okay. So here we go again. So I try to bring my Seventh Day Adventist family with me on this truth journey. But once more, we were ousted by the very people that claimed, they really big into Ellen White, that truth is progressive. But they had somewhere stopped, on this road to truth. All right. So that was the third time. But we were bolstered in our faith by this new revelations that we were receiving. And so we tried, trying to find what Messianic Judaism, but that didn't take too well for us being second class citizens. It was, like an undercurrent there that there were certain people who were ethnically Jewish or Hebrew or Israelite. And I didn't know all the differences then, but we were different because we were seen as the outsiders, okay, that they would, kind of let us in. And when we were going to one of these, it wasn't a synagogue. It was like in some kind of assembly building or whatever. And they didn't call it a synagogue. And I was even told by the cantor who came over, and because afterwards we were having a little fellowship, when we were eating stuff like that. And he came over and whispered in my ear that I was not to speak the name of Father again. Okay. And so at that time, I probably was calling him Yahweh instead of Jehovah. But he couldn't give me a good enough reason to stop saying the name of the Almighty that I had learned was a name above all names. Okay. So, of course, I had to say it one more time before I left the building. But I was ousted again. However, I have finally found a congregation, and that's House of Israel. That's part of the Arthur Bailey Ministries.com if you go on the internet to find it, where we're all brethren, regardless of ethnicity or any other physical and cultural traits. I have learned to accept the ousting and the doors closing as opportunities for Jehovah to stretch my faith and reveal more of himself to me. He is ordering my steps as I fearlessly keep moving by faith. May we all allow the Father to order our steps. Psalms 37:23 in the Amplified Bible says, the steps of a good and righteous man, and that's woman too, are directed and established by Jehovah, and he delights in his way and blesses his path. May your path be blessed. Until we meet again, shalom, shalom, and remember to like and share and subscribe if you haven't.